Hello, this is Erick Widman from Passage Immigration Law, and we are looking forward to answering a number of really good questions that have been submitted. And to our clients and friends who are dealing with the scary situation in the Ukraine, our hearts really go out to you, and definitely take steps to make sure you and your family are safe. We've had some clients voluntarily moving within the country, but also seeking refuge elsewhere. So, my goodness, we're all concerned what could be unfolding right now there as Russian troops advance. So, over here in the U.S., we got some great questions, and the first one is a question about biometrics and medical exam. So my parents got their appointment for a biometrics on March 1st for their adjustment of status application. What would be a good time for them to get their medical exams done? Do they need to wait until it's requested if they don't get an interview? So to lay the foundation, the background for everybody, when someone's applying for a green card through adjustment of status, a medical exam is required, and it's not required though when you submit all the paperwork with the adjustment application. So the big stack of paperwork, you often don't want to provide the medical in case the case processing time takes a while and the medical exam expires. So this person knew that and likely recommended their parents or parent to hold off on doing the exam. So that's a good strategy. We recommend that our clients do the same thing. And what we normally do is say, once you get the interview notice set up, then go have the medical exam done, because you'll have 2 or 3 weeks to do it. And that's typically enough time to get the medical done and bring it into the interview. But sometimes, as the questioner is asking, there's not an interview, especially for parents. So there's no trigger point then to request the medical exam. And so he or she is wondering, when should we do this medical exam? I would say keep in mind the processing time for an adjustment of status, especially here in Oregon or on the West Coast. Things are a little slower in California and Washington, but the interview should be set up, or the processing should be happening in a year and a half at the maximum. So I would go ahead and, in case you don't get an interview, as you get close to that 1 year mark, get the medical exam done and have it ready, and call USCIS to say, I have it. They might issue a request for evidence if they don't set up the interview. So then you'd have to reply back to the request for evidence with your medical exam. But giving them a call won't hurt. That's really one of the few ways to get in touch with them and communicate with them, because in the absence of an RFE, sending in a letter will just get ignored or lost. Okay, next question. This person's student visa is expiring soon, but I was just engaged. Congratulations. As we always tell someone, immigration process is difficult, but it's not as difficult as finding the right person to marry. So that's great. You got engaged. Can I apply for a fiance visa while being in the States? So a couple key issues here you've got to watch out for. You got to navigate. With your student visa expiring soon, you have to make sure you're maintaining your status. And once you're no longer going to school, it sounds like you might be finishing up your degree, you're going to have to transition to something else. There's a grace period for 60 days. You can sometimes move into a B1, B2 visitor visa status. That's good, because your fiance would be petitioning for you for a fiance visa. Your fiance must be a U.S. citizen because green card holders can't petition for fiancés. So your fiance is a U.S. citizen, but you're not going to be able to proceed and get a petition approved while you're here in the U.S. And so the fiance visa can only be processed outside the United States. And you've got to make sure that when you go to apply for your fiance visa outside the United States or any visa, that you show to the consular officer that you've maintained status. So what would not be good is if you overstayed your time here, you accrued, you collected unlawful presence, and that would be a problem when you try to go get your fiance visa overseas. So if you're definitely doing a fiance visa, make sure you stay in status and you don't get any unlawful presence. As an alternative, your U.S. citizen fiance, you guys could get married here, and instead of doing the fiance visa, you just move forward with a adjustment of status for a spouse. So then you wouldn't have to worry about handling the green card application and proving that you comply with all those regulations outside the US. You could do it in the United States if you got married here. But try to keep in mind what your family and parents and friends and siblings would want too, because often these weddings are a communal event and you don't want to deprive them of a chance to go to a wedding and have something special. Okay, next question. I am here on a J1 visa, but I was offered a regular post in the same organization. Can I stay here while processing the transition as well as the new visa? So one thing that's not completely clear is if your new visa is going to be another J1, or maybe your employer is going to be petitioning for a green card for you. So in that case, well, in either case, the good news is you should be able to stay here and do a change of status. Switch from a J1 to another J1, or proceed with a different type of visa. Maybe you're moving over to a H-1B or maybe a green card. We would need more details, and our business immigration expert attorney, David, we could ask him as well, but email us if you'd like to provide more details so we can get you a more targeted response. support@passage.law. Okay. Next question. My parents are immigrants. In 2019, we were applying for my immigration. I even finished my medical checkup. But because of COVID, the application took so long. The problem is I'm now 22. Can I still follow my parents in the US? Okay, that is another great question, and it implicates the fact that when someone turns 21 years old, they move from one immigration category to the next. So they move from being a child when you're 20 or younger to essentially being an adult for immigration purposes. Maybe Congress was thinking about the drinking age in the US. When you drink alcohol, you become a son or daughter. So that's the same here. A son or daughter age 21 or above they're in a different immigration category. Typically it takes longer. And so it's usually a bad thing to move from being in the child category over into the son or daughter adult category. The wait times are longer. So this person asking the question is wanting to make sure he or she can immigrate with the original child petition where they were a derivative. So you'd have to run this by us or another good law firm with lots of with more details to confirm. But based upon these few sentences, it looks promising that the Child Status Protection Act, CSPA, would help you out because you were starting the process, the visa application process, the consular processing was underway. You've done your medical. And so most likely the CSPA, some people call it the CISPA, would have frozen your age as a child and kept you under 21. But you definitely want to lay out all those facts, double, triple check everything. And I wonder if if the process is still underway. Are you stuck in administrative processing? And you noted that COVID has slowed things down. So, and the application is taking so long, maybe they're still processing it. Since that was, my goodness, 3 years ago, you definitely want to press them to complete the consular processing for you. And if they don't respond, that's a great mandamus lawsuit. You've been waiting long enough. You've been waiting beyond a reasonable period. So a mandamus lawsuit to mandate the government to take action, the embassy, the State Department, that could be a good idea if you're not getting any results. But yes, you're smart. You're doing the right thing by confirming that you're able to immigrate in that category. That's an important legal issue. So there we have it, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We are very glad that you asked these great questions. We're going to post this online in case you weren't able to see it live. We'll see you next week, and stay safe, everybody. Take care.